Hello friends, followers and channel members, welcome back to Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, where Latin VFR have just released their Airbus A330-900 Neo for the simulator. Now, right from the off, we know, particularly with those of you who play on a PC, they've got stiff competition from the Headwind A330, which I have promoted here on the channel in the past because I think it's a great freeware aircraft. This then is payware, and it costs about 30 British pounds. And when you bear in mind that you can get something like the Phoenix A320 for just £20 more than that, well, I kind of think that's pushing it a little bit with regards to the price, particularly when we have a look at just what we've got in terms of realisms and availability in all of the cockpit and features included. So in this video, we're going to take a look at what you do get for your money and assess, do we think it's worth it? One of the things you do get is a lot of different liveries for this aircraft. Lots of them are real-world liveries, some of them are fictional. But either way, given the wide range of liveries available, you're never going to be stuck for a different airline to fly for. Now, I must say from the off that I actually think this is a really nice looking model. Very photogenic. It's not a brand spanking clean aircraft. You can see dirt and things trailing from the windows, the flaps, spoilers, that kind of thing. So I think the Latin VFR team have done a really nice job in making this look like a weathered, used, realistic looking aircraft. As with their A320 family collection, you also get a full and quite detailed interior cabin to walk through as well. Not something that really bothers or interests me, but I know many of you out there do like having a realistic cabin for photos and basically just to walk around and enjoy during long flights. So let's have a look at the aircraft then where it truly matters, and that's in the flight deck. Now, we already know from their A320 releases that not everything is going to be working. They have modeled all the basic systems, but is that enough to fly this aircraft to a high degree? Maybe if you wanted to fly on VATSIM, for example. Let's take a look. So on first look in this flight deck, I have to say I'm actually quite impressed. I do like the way that it's all laid out, and of course it looks like a proper A330 flight deck. It's not just an A320 import. Confirmation as well, we look down at the pedestal, there is the third box, and also just little things like the thrust levers look more like the A330 thrust levers. The overhead panel as well is not the same as the A320, so it's nice to see that that's been modeled correctly. And then of course what we do have is on all the Latin VFR products, we have the tablet. Now, it does look quite basic, but it does have a certain degree of functionality to it. So if we just go through, obviously if we're in the air, we'd have that page all filled in. We've got a system states page, so you can literally get everything ready straight away, or you can go through a full cold and dark setup. If you have a look at the ramp manager, this is quite neat because of course all of the doors, etc., they all open. So we could literally go and get everything opened up, and we can also get any stairs or call jetways. Now, if you're using GSX, of course you probably won't use this because GSX will take care of it and you can set that up, but it would be quite nice just to see what this looks like outside once they're all done. Let's have a quick visit outside and see what it looks like. Yeah, so here we are, Gate Gourmet doing their thing. Now, these are just fixed vehicles. They are not catering vehicles that GSX has provided. These are just your normal default vehicles. What I did think was quite neat was that depending on which airline you're flying, you get realistic cargo bins. So obviously ITA Airways, that's what we've got down there. But just to very quickly show you that they are just fixed models. So if I jump back into the flight deck and get rid of those, then they've disappeared. They don't sort of actually drive up to the aircraft as you would see if you were using GSX. If you go through a walk through the cabin as well, you'll also see they have branded the interior with the airline that you're flying as well, which is quite a nice touch, to be fair. The tablet also allows you to request METAR from any airport in the world, and it'll also show you what the weather is currently like at your current location. The aircraft also comes with checklists, so you can work through these. They're not interactive, it's literally just a PDF sort of imposed onto the EFB, but that's okay. At least you have got something to follow if you need it. Weights and fuel then, that is all loaded up through this, and as you can see, as I'm mucking about with the fuel, the aircraft is actually bouncing up and down as I alter the aircraft C of G, which I thought was quite weird the first time I did it. I did wonder what on earth was happening. So yeah, you don't need to go and use the weights and balance screen up here in Microsoft Flight Simulator. You can if you so wish, but this is probably an easier way of doing it. And of course, you've also got your max takeoff weights, etc., shown there. You've also got a V-speed calculator as well, so there you'll be able to enter in your takeoff weight, what flap setting you're using, also adding the temperature, your runway length, and of course the pressure. Everything you need for a takeoff performance calculator, and you've also got a landing performance calculator as well. If you have a Navigraph subscription, they do allow you to bring this in as well, so I'll just go through and then you would go through the process and get that linked in there. I'm not going to do it for now, but I have seen it working, and yeah, that works pretty much just as you would expect. And once you've got that all signed in, then you could also use Navigraph charts just like you can in all other major mods and aircraft in Flight Simulator. The aircraft will also link with SimBrief as well using this page here. Once you've fetched your operational flight plan from SimBrief, one I've just created here quickly, you'll see it does bring data in, but it doesn't really give you the full operational flight plan. It basically gives you the bare minimums that you need. Obviously you've got call sign and information regarding the flight and your weights. There's your flight route, there's the weather if you can zoom in enough to look through that, and then of course there's the maps down below. But realistically that's not everything you'd want if you were going to fly through and do a full-on briefing. You'd be better off just using the operational flight plan on SimBrief. Okay, so let's go through the usual startup with batteries 1 and 2 and then the external power. And we'll have a listen. We can also do the APU fire test, or not, because the APU fire test doesn't work. Never mind, I'm going to guess engine number 1 and engine 2 doesn't work either. Nope, so not got that full functionality just there, but we can start and align the ADIRs, and that should bring those online. How long do they take? Is it straight away or not? I'm not sure, but again, just mentioning that the overhead is definitely different from the A320. Just things like that, having the engines, fire push buttons, and the APU, etc., in a different place, just like the real A330. Actually makes it a shame that we can't utilise them, but never mind. At least they're in the right place. So let's delve into the systems then and see just how much this Latin VFR A330 has to offer. The SD pages are consistent with the A330. You'll notice there's a couple of extra ones in there as well, and as you look at the lower ECAM, you'll see all the systems are laid out just like an A330 would be, so it's nice once again to see that that isn't just a copy of the A320. You can all see the different compartments there with regarding the temperatures in the back, all the doors, all the different wheels, etc. Usual flight control page and the fuel page as well. System status. Being able to cycle through those as well using the all button is realistic too. Coming up then to the navigation display, one of the first things you'll notice is that we've actually got a ground radar. Now that is actually really neat. I'm just going to have a look if we zoom out on that as well. That is nice. I do like the fact that we've got that in there, because obviously if you're taxiing around, having that system on there is part of the new Airbus stuff. The A350 has it. I'm not sure about the A380. I'm sure you guys can let me know if that is indeed the case. I would assume that it certainly has. Some of the newer A320neos, A321 neos, I think, have this system built in as well, but that's quite a nice touch to have that that display on there. If you don't want it, of course, you're just able to turn that down, and it should, I think, although it's taken a long time and a lot of twists of my mouse wheel to be able to get rid of that, and there you can see it's just faded away into the background. But yeah, that's one of the first things I noticed, and got to be honest, quite like that. That's a neat little touch, particularly when taxiing around unfamiliar airports. Now, I have not logged into Navigraph, remember, so the information you're getting here is nothing to do with Navigraph, so that should work out of the box by default. So then let's now have a look at the all-important MCDU and see what the functionality of this is like. The database, of course, is based on what you've got installed into Microsoft Flight Simulator. I have a Navigraph subscription, so I've got the latest AirAct cycle available. On the init page then we could build this up ourselves, or I believe if we go to the let me have a look which page it was. It was the flight plan page. It says now we can send to the CDU. I'm presuming that's meant to be the MCDU, but let's have a look. If we press that and go over here, has that worked? That doesn't appear to. I'll try that again, see if it'll send it across. If not, we'll do it the old-fashioned way and build it up ourselves. Maybe not. Maybe it needs us to pop in the from to field. So let me try doing that. And I've just made a flight up here of Rome to JFK. We'll pop that in. Although that's concerning if it says it's not in the database. Seemed to work that time. And it's actually got a cost index of 10 in there, and it has put all the flight plan in. So maybe you need to put the NAA destination and departure details in, then press the CDU button, and we can insert that then. And I think that is now all there, although rather concerning that it's got us flying direct to JFK and then heading back, so something perhaps not quite right just there. The destination is not Pigos. Okay, I'm just going to come away from that and see if I can get this to work properly. Okay, well, I've reset the box with Rome to JFK in it, and with the flight plan now, I've basically just got those two airports in with a decel point in between. I have tried sending this back to the box, but it's not wanting to work. So if you guys do have this aircraft and you've worked this out, then please leave a comment down below and let us know what I was doing wrong or what you had to do to get that working. Anyway, very quickly I will just set this up. Okay, I'm bored now. So trying to manually put the information into this box is actually really confusing, because whenever you want to pop a particular waypoint into the left hand using your line side keys here on the left hand side, instead of popping it at the one you want it to appear at, you actually need to pop that waypoint into the one above, which obviously that's not the way it works in the real world, although I do seem to remember the default A320 also had that issue as well. When trying to pop an airway in, so for example from Dobim just here we should take the Uniform Mike 616 airway, doesn't want me to do that. It wants to take me direct to ENE, which is the start of the approach over at JFK, so don't particularly want to do that either. Not sure if I can put in the next waypoint. Let's try that, which is Pigos. Can that be entered in there? No, it can't. So yeah, not really sure what's going on there. Sadly, I don't think this wants to allow me to pop airways in after Pigos. We should be taking the uniform mic 622, but the fact that I've still got the ENE showing just there is a little bit concerning, so I am going to erase all that. But you know what? I would imagine that most people flying this aircraft, if they're not bringing stuff in from SimReef, they can also load it using the default flight planner on the main screen of Microsoft Flight Simulator, the flight planning page, and get that imported. So that is one way round of doing it. But fair to say at the moment, not too impressed with the box. Let's leave that as it is, push back, and let's see what this thing's like when we actually fly it.
Hello, Captain. We are ready for pushback.
Okay, let's see how she handles on takeoff. Now, just full disclaimer, I've reloaded in here onto the runway, so we don't have any flight plan or anything like that set. So we'll just put on the FCU. We'll fly on a runway track and up to 5,000 feet, just to see how she handles. Now, I don't know if I'm missing something here. You guys might be able to tell me in the chat and comments down below, but I can't find anywhere to calibrate my Thrustmaster Airbus levers. So this is just going to be a toga takeoff, and then I'm going to have to faff around trying to find the correct detent for the climb thrust. So I'm not quite sure how you're meant to calibrate there. There's nothing in the EFB, and there's nothing in the box either. So let's see what happens. A murky takeoff from Rome. Let's go. So that's 50% N1 set, and let's go toga. So man toga, should say SRS, not open climb, and runway. It's flashing lever climb, which is interesting. The nose is starting to raise.
V1.
That's V1. And this aircraft feels very, very light. It doesn't feel like a heavy wide body in the slightest. In fact, if we raise that nose following the flight directives, we're going to overspeed at this, so I'm going to have to get that nose up a little bit more. Otherwise, we're going to overspeed. That shouldn't happen. Positive rate. Gear up. So in terms of the actual flying of the aircraft, if I take the autopilot off and move left and right, let's see how it handles. It is very, very responsive. It's responsive with the elevators, so up and down, very responsive, but with the ailerons and the roll, it does feel more like a heavy aircraft. But yeah, just very, very responsive in terms of the pitch and attitude. Next thing to do then, of course, is see what she's like at landing. Let's have a look. So I'm just bringing her back in on runway 16 left at Rome. It's a very murky day. I've got live weather turned on. It's a little bit windy as well, slight crosswind from the right, as you can see. So I thought this was actually a pretty good set of conditions to see how this aircraft actually handles, and it seems that on approach it did feel a bit more sluggish compared to when I was trying to take off with the aircraft, where indeed it felt very light. Perhaps there's some difference in the way the different handling of the aircraft is programmed. On the ground it is indeed very light, very easy to rotate. In the air it perhaps feels a little more sluggish, feeling more so like a wide-bodied aircraft. It certainly had me fighting it all the way down. Now the interesting thing was, as I was sort of trying to keep that picture there with regards to the wind, the autopilot had been taken off, so I didn't do an auto land. I haven't tried that just yet. This is just me manually landing. It was pretty easy to control and maintain, and hopefully we'll touch down in a moment and you'll see that. But one thing that this aircraft did really struggle to do, and that was plant itself down onto the runway, and that's not because I was going for a huge butter landing. In fact, it seemed to take forever for that nose to actually come and touch down onto the runway, and I seem to recall the Latin VFR A321neo, when they released that, being exactly the same. So you can see now the main landing gears touched down, but it's took a while before the forward nose gear actually got itself onto the runway. Again, nothing to do with me, so it doesn't have the same lore as the A320 pushing the nose down. Now, I don't know too much about the A330, so disclosure here, I don't know if the flare law is the same in the A330 as it is in the A320. Anybody out there that does know, then please do leave a comment down below. Should the A330 nose lower the same as the A320 nose does from around 30 feet? So there we are, the Latin VFR A330-900. I desperately want to know what you guys think after seeing this video, what your opinions are of this aircraft. For me personally, well, if you are playing Microsoft Flight Simulator on a PC, I wouldn't go near this aircraft. You've got the Headwind A330, which is far superior, far more advanced, and save your money. Do I think it's worth £30 for Xbox users? No, not at all. Again, it looks great. Everything, even inside the flight deck, looks great, but I'm afraid that's where the good stuff stops. Flying this aircraft, the systems that it's got are just nowhere near enough to warrant that price tag. This is just my opinion, of course, though. I'd love to know what you think and whether you agree with me. Thank you so much for watching. I do hope you found this video useful. If you have, then please don't forget to leave a like, and of course, if you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notifications bell so you don't miss any future videos, and of course our live streamed flights. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you all again in the next one. Bye bye for now.